As health and wellness providers, we know that better patient outcomes require a whole person, multidisciplinary approach that we just can't provide on our own. That's why I've started the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'll be bringing you interviews with experts, tips, tricks, secrets, resources, systems, and solutions so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And creating your wellness center won't feel like starting over. I'd like to start today's show with a shout out to our show sponsor, Jane. Jane is a practice management software with a fully integrated PCI compliant payment solution called Jane Payments, designed to manage all of your payment needs. The team at Jane knows that every practice is unique, and that means your payment needs are unique too. With that in mind, the team at Jane has created a payment personality quiz to identify how Jane Payments can help you save time and get paid faster. It only takes a few minutes to fill out, and the results of the quiz will help you decide whether online payments are the way to go or if a terminal is helpful for you based on how you practice. We use Jane Payments for all of our transactions here at Vancouver Wellness Studio, and it has made our workflow so much easier so we can focus on what matters most, our patient care. You can take the quiz at jane.app/payments. Don't forget, listeners can use the code WELLNESS1MO at jane.app/start for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. Today on the show, we have Marco de Ciantis. Welcome, Marco.
Thank you so much. And it's an absolute pleasure. And I'm grateful to be present and to be part of this podcast. So thank you.
I'd love if we could start just by you introducing yourself and sharing a bit about who you are and what you're doing.
Sure. So I practice chiropractic out of Toronto, 2 clinics currently right now for the past 11 years. And I own and operate them with my identical twin brother. And we've been doing that together on and off once again for 11 to 10 years. I specialized in the beginning part of my career in sports science, being a chiropractic sport fellow, and then through the years been branching into more public health, particularly with humanitarian missions in Africa, and still doing that coming in the new year with pediatric division. And I'm also currently in the middle of generating a new business, which we'll eventually get to, which is focused on helping new and recent grads in getting their foothold in the clinical environment, empowering them and giving them their self-ownership in owning their own business.
Amazing. So you're wearing a lot of hats these days. A lot of our listeners are, of course, business owners and health and wellness providers. So I'm curious, I think people always like to know, what is the structure of your chiropractic clinic, the 2 clinics? Do you have, how many employees do you have? Do you have contractors? Are they true employees? Are they, do you have different disciplines? Kind of what's your current setup?
Sure. It's multidisciplinary. So in the sense that there's chiros, so not just myself and my brother, but there's other chiros that are there, and they're all contractors. We just got an acupuncturist starting last week, physiotherapist, naturopathic, psychotherapy, kinesiology, fascial stretch therapy. And we're in a building that has optometrists, family practice, emergency dental, plastic surgery. So there's quite a few different disciplines within our clinical setting and also the clinical setting right around us. And that's a beautiful way to generate not only a community of practitioners, but a community for patients that they could obviously access. We have right now 2 staff, which are the actual only employees, an office manager and a front desk staff. And utilizing Jane has been really helpful in the sense of streamlining the managerial process, in the sense that a lot of this starting 10 to 11 years ago and then working through clinical practices and how things evolved, particularly after COVID, A lot of businesses, not only ours, realized we didn't need as much staff and that we're probably underutilizing the technology that we had. So it's been beautiful to realize, oh crap, Jane can do a lot of this stuff for us. And oh crap, we can streamline certain costs that way. And even though certain practitioners are only virtual, such as our psychotherapist and our naturopath, Jane's been really helpful in this sense with the particular group sessions, connecting all the patients and connecting all the practitioners together.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think most people are probably underutilizing Jane or whatever EHR system that they have. And finding all those capabilities can really actually make a huge impact on your business. So
Absolutely. Oh,
it's an
yeah.
important thing to do. And, you and I are big Jane fans, and their support team is amazing. So if you are using Jane and you want to know how to better utilize everything in support of your business, they are always happy to chat with you. Okay, so how are you managing all these various roles that you carry daily, right? So it sounds like you're still working with with patients clinically.
Yep.
You own the business, personal life, expanding to now another business. What's your secret? How are you balancing it?
Copious amounts of coffee. And
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the truth, people.
um, right. It's I find or I found that there is a diminishing returns once you get to about 3 espressos in one day. So it's great to find our limits, but yeah, at times, and this is for any business owner at any time when we start. Actually, let me take a step back. Whatever discipline we come from, whether it's chiropractic, dental, MD, you're spending 4 years or more learning your discipline, and that business education is really a fraction of what it is that we get taught before we go out into practice. Now, whether you're an associate, you're a contractor, you work in the hospital setting, you start your business, you're pretty much on your own. I mean, you learned how to be a doc or to do your vocation, but you didn't really know or learn the business aspect of it. So I'm fortunate where, I made those mistakes, but I also had a great network around me to bring me to this point where I can feel like I'm tapping my head, rubbing my belly, and then juggling a fiery bowling pin with one hand. It's a lot to do at once, and I find that pragmatically really focusing per day on certain challenges and then setting goals. I have my whiteboard set up where there's, week one goal, week two goal, and by the end of this month, this is what should be accomplished. And that really keeps me aligned. But right now, it's I'm basically transitioning out of clinical work. I'm going to be starting locum works, and that's allowing me the opportunity to dive deeper into developing the Daphne Health Alliance, and frankly, kind of going exploring my own personal life a bit more, which has been taking a back seat with all these different roles that I'm wearing. And primarily, I have to interject with saying this, that overall, your own happiness has to be, absolutely has to be first and foremost in your mind. It's great to do what we love to do, but if we're not connected to our happiness all the time, and what I mean by that, we'll have our on days and our off days, we're not feeling well and blah blah blah. But even on those days, really being truly happy about what it is that we're doing, I find just allows us to keep doing what it is that we're doing, no matter how many roles or hats we wear on a given day.
100% agree on that. What keeps you motivated, in your
Mm.
daily life and in your work?
I firmly, absolutely believe that what it is that I'm doing is for me. I fell into chiropractic in the sense of back in 2007 getting injured, and then my dad just recommending to go to a family chiro who really opened up my mind to a manual form of medicine or manual conservative therapy. And from that, I working with my hands and then working with patients every single day. I know this is what I love to do, and being mindful of that love, where it's not only found in work, but that work is love. That is what really, really, really keeps me going. So no matter what you see in what part of the world, whether you're doing working with this patient or seeing some really frankly horrendous stuff, connecting with that love allows you to do your best, and that's what keeps me motivated and keeps me going, because from that I'm able to generate a loving life, not only for myself but for others.
And when we talk about like, what's your why, right? Like most healthcare
Mm,
providers, we have a why, right? We all go into this field for a reason. And that foundationally, whenever I'm working with clinic owners, the piece that, what's the thing that's going to keep you going when you want to quit? What's the thing that's going to keep you going when it gets really hard, or there's a global pandemic, or there's hardship?
mm.
And when your work is love, it's hard to not keep doing it, right?
Said poignantly, that's COVID was this interesting time where the difficulty, well, personally, speak personally, it was tough to not be physically connected to others, and that some people, I guess, relished in that. And as with RMTs, registered massage therapists, physiotherapists, I mean, we have that tactile connection, and that is part of the love, where have this physical connection to patients, where they can physically not only feel what you're doing, but you're translating your wisdom and your knowledge through that touch towards them. That I found was profound when I was able to get back into it again, and almost like finding your second wind, or rediscovering the love all over again. Like, yes, this is the why. It is the physical connection to others that allows me to deliver this love, this work in me to people. And frankly, I mean, you can spend all the years you want in school getting all the degrees on the wall, which you can't translate into a loaf of bread, even if you wanted to. This is the actual way I found that I can relate that education, that wisdom, that knowledge through to patients, is that direct connection, and I love. So that is the why. And it's so important to do that. Now, that's not discounting saying we can't be part of this business to earn a living, and I'm not saying that. Obviously that
Absolutely.
is a big part of it, but when you're doing what you love, that just really manifests itself, like, really like that, and you'd be surprised how fast things just grow from there, especially when you're doing it from the heart.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I think where where clinic owners can get into trouble, and a lot of healthcare providers have this experience where they start out doing what they love, and
Mm,
then it becomes that they're doing it in a way that it doesn't feel loving, right? Because owning a clinic is a lot of work, and
it's a
running
whole
a
beast.
business is a
Yeah,
lot of work. So I think talking about our own health and wellness as business owners, our own self care as business owners, is vitally important. As I see this every day, clinic owners are wearing all the hats still, and they're not taking care of themselves. And my
mm,
question is always, well, how are you enjoying what you've built, right?
absolutely.
How
Yeah.
are you utilizing what you've built? So my question to you is, what do you prioritize for your health and wellness, and how do you do that, especially in relationship to like the business that you've built, right? Are you integrated into that in a way for your own care? And what does that look like?
Self-care every single morning. So it depends, and this took quite a few years to develop, and thankfully I had particularly colleagues and friends that were able to, I don't want to say expand my mind or open my mind, but bring to my attention certain factors that I can be utilizing every single day that help me to maintain the speed that I'm going at, but obviously enjoy what it is that I'm doing. And once again, every morning self care. So whether that be through yoga or through Vipassana meditation, and physical structure self care, working out, I, spending quality time with yourself and in yourself is absolutely vital, not only to keep yourself grounded, but to keep connected as to why I'm doing this, what the heck am I doing, and where is this going, and what am I going to be getting out of it? And I know that sounds egotistical, but in the end here, you have to have your happiness first and foremost. And when that comes from a genuine, meaningful place, that really does translate to everyone else around you. So self-care is incredibly important, and you can just start 2 minutes every day focusing on anapana, just observing the breath in and out of your nose, or just making that conscious health diet. You know what, today I'm not going to have that Coke, maybe today I'm going to have a shake. There was a great study about 5 or several years ago I read, where they were looking at, and I don't recall the type of depression because there's obviously many different types, but they were looking at a depressive cohort, and they found that just driving to the gym, they don't even need to work out, just driving to the gym, parking in the parking lot, their depression scores dropped. So there isn't, it's what I'm getting at here, there's not that much we actually need to do every single day for our wellness, but having that wellness in mind and making those small little adjustments or those purposeful intents can really snowball. And man, you'd be surprised what you can do, or what was blocking you from doing or continuing to do more. And this is where I find there's always this endless energy within us. We just got to sometimes connect to it and find it.
You spoke a little bit about your awesome support system in your life,
Mm,
and who have been those mentors, people that have influenced you along your journey to get to where you are now as a business owner, a clinician, and a person?
yeah. Close colleague of mine that I graduated the chiropractic college with, a cousin of mine, a third cousin of mine, have been pillars, pillars not only of emotional support, but pillars in a sense of being this positive force of gravity that maintains you on your path towards your goals. I mean, the path is a path. It's never the way, or it would just be kind of easy. So there's always things along, speed bumps, divots, potholes that could steer us away, even other people. But to have these positive force where the gravity kind of keeps you there have been really, really helpful. And the best things that these two individuals have done for me have been mentors in a way, as a non-judgmental, non-egotistical means of upping my game, where I see not necessarily what it is that they're doing, but seeing how they approach different situations. It's never about this can't be done, oh, this is a problem. It's okay, this is here. How do we work with it? Where do we go from here? So it's always about this mind shift or gear shift on the perception or observation. And that is what truly at its core, what really connected me to how they're upping my game. And from that, a lot of things became possible. And then once you realize that a lot is possible, there's nothing that's really impossible. And it's been blossoming ever since then. So I really owe a lot in to the both of them to bring me to this point. And consequently, with Daphne Health Alliance, they have roles involved with that in the continued progression. So it's making sure those genuine connections are there. What I mean by genuine connections is the people that you hold close to you should always be uplifting for you. It should never be about a competition or about having something or getting something. It should really be about an evolution and elevation.
I always like to ask, if you're talking to a new clinic owner or a new practice owner, what are your pearls of wisdom, right?
Mm,
What are those top 1, 2, 3 things that you wish you would have known, or that you like to share with others who are starting out on this journey?
yeah. Things will happen. And even though there's 8 billion people on this planet right now, whatever happens, you're not the first, and you will absolutely not be the last to go through it, even though it may be new to you. So what I mean by that is sometimes we just got not bear with it, but buckle down and say, hey, it really is nothing that can't be navigated. We just got to start from ourselves to navigate that. So that's the big one. Things will happen, and they just do outside your own scope. However, it is not impossible to get yourself around. Get a great team together. And what I mean by team, and particularly with the business owners, I would always encourage them, get an actual business like account manager that frankly talks to you and keeps talking to you and connected with you. Get yourself a great lawyer. And that's going to come particularly important when it comes to contracts, either reading contracts or devising contracts. And get yourself a fantastic accountant and bookkeeper. You wear many hats and you're a professional in your own right, but you can't be the jack of all trades, particularly when it comes to anything in law, accounting. And we hire these professionals for a reason because they spend years in that profession, sorry, doing these things. So have a great team. Know that team may change, but also trust that that team is going to be taking care of certain things that you can't frankly manage. The last thing is you got to learn how to manage yourself. Situations come up and you're going to observe reactions and you got to learn on how to respond. And where that response comes in is that momentary stop, pause, mindful of what the heck you're doing, and then respond as opposed to react. Because as a clinic owner, you're wearing the actual captain hat here, and you're the captain, and you're the actual like you're the whole everything that the team is pivoting on. So knowing how you react versus responding is going to be key, because if you're reacting in a certain way that's deleterious not only to your own health but to the health and wellness of the entire environment, it doesn't matter how good you are or how many degrees you have. People aren't going to come and see you. They don't want to come and see you, and no one's going to want to work with you. So know yourself, get a great team, and know that whatever happens, heck, you can get past it and get beyond it.
Solid advice. Okay, let's talk about Daphne Health Alliance because this sounds amazing and I'm really excited about it. So tell us all about it.
Yeah. So Daphne was someone that connected pretty deeply towards me, and someone that I met on a trip in Italy about a year ago. And one of my colleagues that I mentioned who really upped my game was there with me. So I kind of named this after her in a sense of that was a new elevation in my own life. And where this health alliance comes from, or where I'm directing towards, is to new and recent grads, particularly for them, because cutting out into the field, I always found there's one or two different avenues. You either buy a clinic and or start a clinic. There's that very rare few that can step into a family practice in any discipline, and then be a contractor. There really isn't that much autonomy. You're either following a mold, or you have a mold that isn't started yet and you're not quite too familiar about what you should do or how you should do it, or you're told what to do. So with Daphne Health Alliance, I effectively set up a clinical space, a barbershop space, so to speak, where you have your own room or multiple rooms. It's a clinically designed in the sense that the doors are wide enough where you can get a wheelchair in, multiple plugs, sinks, blah blah blah. But it's run by a practitioner who's kind of went through all those pitfalls. And I'm not here to sell any business model, but it's more about here's a space where you can discover your own business model. And through that, there's support that I can provide, pragmatically as a mentor, but also in terms of other support, particularly for getting yourself more known in the field and to generate more patients to come towards you in a way that's not soliciting, in a way that's frankly meaningful, where you could build your practice, grow in that space, and take off if you want to. The whole idea with Daphne Health Alliance is success and space. And we provide you with a space for your own success that comes from an area of work and love and work.
It's really such a lovely offering to new providers in your community. And where I've seen a couple spaces like this that are similar popping up in the States, that it's
Yep.
not exactly the same, but that people are playing around with this idea of, why don't I create a wellness space that is more of a, intentionally helping people start their own business and providing some of those resources. So I think it's an invaluable tool and offering. How can people who are maybe wanting to learn more about this, how can they do that?
Absolutely. So we're in the midst right now of setting up our actual website with daphnehealthalliance.com and .ca. We'll have our first location in Belleville, Ontario, starting at the end of this year. We actually break ground to start building in September 29th. And from that, I'll be reaching out through Jane and through other social media accounts associated with that, and through Daphne Health Alliance, where we could show the space and then invite any practitioner really to start their own practice with us. And the really lovely part about this is I want practitioners, any disciplines really out there, it's not about how they're going to practice or what it is that they're going to practice. It's just to have a space, a safe space really, where they know that they're not going to be taken advantage of. And what I mean by that truly is I've been taken advantage of, in terms of this sort of clinical setting. And part of it is seeing with other colleagues as well who aren't practicing or become jaded on the business aspect of how things can be run, to show practitioners that there is a different way and that there is a way and they can find their way. That's what Daphne Health Alliance is really all about.
Thank you so much, Marco. It's really a pleasure to chat with you today. And I think our audience will really appreciate everything you shared.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for the opportunity. And I wish you well and on all your listeners.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Thanks so much for listening to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please visit our website at wellnesscentercreators.com for more show notes and additional episodes. Plus, if you do have time, please subscribe to the podcast and please consider rating and reviewing the show. That will help other people find us. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.